Well, hey everyone, welcome to Voyage of Empowerment teaser series, session one, where we get to talk about empowerment, differences, and our leadership conference that we're having, a one-of-a-kind event where you get to meet and interact with leaders across different industries and sectors, and we talk about leadership and empowerment and all the impacting things that measure all of our differences that we have as a human. I'm thrilled to take you all on an empowerment journey together. Where often do you get to go on a leadership conference journey that actually moves and builds connection with people than a conference that's happening on a cruise ship? It's an opportunity for us all to be taken out of our normal day-to-day interaction when we think about leadership conferences and events. And so why not do that in this environment? And so I'm super thrilled to do that. And let's talk a little bit about empowering differences and how we got to having a leadership conference on a cruise ship. Like, how cool is that? We decided to have the Voyage of Empowerment to bring people together through the 4 empowerment steps. And so step 1 of the 4-step process is to know yourself. So if you haven't had a chance to take our self-assessment, please take a moment and download the self-assessment by accessing the QR code that you see on the screen here. But this is your opportunity to learn more about yourself in relation to empowerment. That is really important to navigate your journey for empowerment. And think about it as it gives you the ability to get ready to know other people on this journey. And that's why knowing others is step 2 in this process. And as you learn about others and their differences, it's an opportunity for you to develop your strategy for empowerment of all 10 of your differences. And if you're thinking about empowerment of differences, this is the opportunity you have to measure how empowered you are for your differences. We created a differences assessment to help people do this and to measure how empowered you are for those differences. That's why you want to access our digital empowerment assessment platform. You measure whether you're disempowered or empowered, and then by doing that, you'll get a recommendation for step 4, which is the empowering actions. These are the leadership actions that you do each and every day. But this way, you know exactly which ones to focus on first to drive empowerment for people. And that's what this whole thing is about. That's why we have the most amazing group of people gathering for the Voyage of Empowerment. And I kid you not when I tell you that I put out a call to bring in some really awesome people. Who steps up to the plate other than people who are passionate about empowerment of others? None other than Dr. Victoria Mattingly, who's here today to chat with us on what she does and how she drives empowerment for people, but also how we can connect and grow as humans together. So without further ado, Dr. Mattingly, I see you're here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me today.
I'm super excited that you're here. Why don't you take a few moments and talk a little bit about what you do and how that connects to empowerment. I'm excited to hear.
Absolutely. So thank you for the warm introduction. I'm Dr. Victoria Mattingly, or you can call me Dr. V, and I have my PhD in organizational psychology, meaning I've been trained in how to use data and science to improve the human experience at work. That's related to empowerment and the work that I do with diversity, equity, and inclusion with my company, Mattingly Solutions. So what we do at Mattingly is we empower those who typically lack power, lack status, lack privilege in organizations by giving them voice and elevating those voices to make sure that those voices are, not only used to diagnose what problems organizations are facing, but more importantly, what those voices are saying to help contribute to the solution and close inequity gaps. So as I mentioned, my company, Mattingly Solutions, it's co-owned by my amazing business partner, Sertrice Grice. And Sertrice and I work with organizations all around the country, helping them build more data-driven DEI strategies, so diversity, equity, inclusion strategies. We do a lot of speaking and training on workplace inclusion. And we define inclusion as behaviors. And I feel like empowerment is very action oriented, and that's definitely how we approach inclusion. We define inclusion as the behaviors that result in others feeling valued, respected, seen, and heard. So inclusion is the action, and belonging is the outcome. And whenever one feels like they truly belong in an organization, they can feel empowered to bring their best selves to work every day, to contribute in a really meaningful and impactful way, and just to have better well-being. And people want to feel like they belong, that they're empowered to do their work, and that that makes them feel good about being at an organization. What you see behind me is our book Inclusalytics, all about how DEI leaders use data to drive their work. So we interviewed dozens of DEI leaders across the country in a variety of industries and asked them how they use data to do their work as DEI leaders. And so we have all these testimonials, and we coupled that with all of our best practices that we know as organizational psychologists, as DEI practitioners, to help build and create a go-to guide to DEI leaders to help them take a more data-driven approach to their work. So that's really where our passion lies, not just in fostering more inclusive organizations and the effect that that has on empowerment, but to also equip DEI leaders with the tools they need to use data to drive their efforts. So in the ticker below, you'll see mention of our DEIX framework, and that's the framework that we use with all of our clients. And it's a 4-step process. It always begins with diagnostics. So whether we collect the data or we analyze data that's already been collected, we try to use data to really understand what's happening. And I like to say you would never want to go to a doctor and then have them just prescribe you a medication without actually diagnosing what your issue was. And that's why that diagnostics phase is so critical. The next phase is what we call organizational service design. So making sense of the data that we collected and really partnering closely with our organizational stakeholders to figure out what can be done and what should be done with the data that we collected. Third phase is intervention. So that's typically where clients like to start. Let's go do something. We have 2 full stages in place before we actually go and do the work. That work could look like trainings. It could look like revamping talent management processes. So how you hire, how you retain, how you engage, how you train your employees. Succession planning. Could look at a variety of different interventions that result in more diverse, equitable, and inclusive organizations. And then our 4th and final stage is program evaluation. So what was done? Did it work? We have our flagship product, the Mattingly Inclusion and Belonging Assessment, or what we call the MIBA, the MIBA. And that is a full workforce assessment where we survey an entire workforce to find out how they're being treated, so that inclusion piece, how they feel about it, which is the belonging piece, and what behaviors could be more utilized in an organization to increase those feelings of belongingness. And we also get at that empowerment piece I mentioned before. So we look at the 3 lowest scoring groups for belonging, and then we do focus groups with those groups, those identity groups, to find out what's going on. Why are we seeing these subgroup differences in the data? And what can we do to start closing those gaps to make sure that everyone is having a impactful, empowering, inclusive experience at the organization? So it's not just a matter of looking at the data as a whole, but looking at it by subgroups is really critical. And then we'll come back and do that assessment again 1 year later to find out what was done over the course of that year. Did it start closing gaps? Are they the same groups that are at the bottom? Are there different groups now? What can we do to now support those new groups? So really, embedding data in everything we do. And I'm super thrilled to bring our message about DEI and data and inclusalytics and inclusive behaviors to the Voyage of Empowerment. So Therese got to go last year, so she was so kind to offer me the opportunity to go this year when Ashley invited us back. We're so thrilled to be a part of the cruise, and I'm just really excited to talk about what we'll be talking about on the cruise and what to expect on this voyage.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled that you're back. And I guess I'll take a moment and tell people how they can come on this voyage with us, because there are some spots left. It's interesting, like when I signed the deal to reserve so many rooms on the ship, I was like kind of nervous 2 years. This is almost 2 years ago now, when I brokered this deal, and I was like thinking, okay, what am I getting myself into first of all? And then as I started to realize that there were so many different stakeholder groups of people who wanted to be present, the ERG that have already bought tickets, there's speakers that have bought tickets, there's sponsors that have bought tickets, there's scholarship tickets that I've allocated for special events and groups. Because I think it's really important that if you ever do some sort of event and you call it empowering, you have to make sure that there's a path for anyone to be there, regardless of their social status group or the money they make or the income that they have. So that's really important to me, that all of my events, that someone has a path towards being there. Which is why we have a scholarship program for people to attend. Some of the scholars, I don't know if you heard, but like some of the scholarship attendees last year were like absolutely like mind-blowingly amazing people. And just hearing some of their stories and the feedbacks and the tears that happened from them being a part of this was just so powerful. But if you're thinking about getting tickets, I'll tell you that there's about 7 cabins left that are not spoken for already. And if you're thinking about getting a ticket towards one of those 7 cabins, you can do that. You can know that when you buy a ticket, which is, and obviously, like I was mentioning, this is how much it costs to attend. If you're personally paying for that, I don't think anyone should personally pay for that. I think you should get your company to pay for it. And if you need help in doing that, just send me a note, and we can actually give you the list of all the benefits for attending. So that way your boss knows exactly why you want to go on this empowerment conference. So anyways, everything is included in this. You can't get nickel and dimed on an empowerment conference either. So you have a balcony room, you have the internet package, you have the beverage package, you have the photography package, you have special shore excursions that we're doing. And I can't name the sponsor yet for this shore excursions, but we're about to finalize that. In Bermuda, we'll be actually doing 2 events on the 2 days. That'll be a part of your conference registration ticket. We're also going to be doing a special event in Manhattan before we set sail on the 14th of September. So your ticket to attend that is going to be included as well. And then you get all the professional development hours and credits for attending all the sessions during the conference, but also the curriculum that you get access to, a part of our organization, Empowering Differences. So definitely there's lots to gain from being there. And if you need help, obviously, and if you're not able to physically be there, we also will have virtual tickets available on our website at empoweringdifferences.com. You can use the coupon code VOE200, and that's where you'll be able to sign up and make a reservation. And you can use that coupon code to save $200 off. And we're hoping that you join us. Because we're going to have a lot of fun on this conference, aren't we?
I can't wait. I've never been on a conference on a cruise. I've been to many conferences, never one has it been on a cruise. And I know when Sertrice went last year, she had such an amazing time, and the people she met. And so she knew I was having some FOMO. So I'm just shout out to Sertrice for sharing the love and giving me the cruise spot this year. So thank you, Sertrice, for that.
Yes. I'll never forget the photo of her holding the microphone like this while she was singing karaoke. It was like really powerful. And people were a little bit upset that our group was like the best karaoke singers of the cruise line history.
Well, I'm gonna rep too. I'm gonna rep on the karaoke stage. So Sertrice and I, that's one of our shared loves of karaoke. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it looks like we have both of our fans are in the chat. And it looks like Dr. Rowe has said hey to you. Long time no see. So it's neat when our friends are watching us go live. I know that there were some people in the chat that were like, "Oh my gosh, it's 2 of my favorite people. They're going to be live together." So okay, so we have a leadership conference, we have an empowerment theming event, we have a cruise ship. all mixed into one. What is your most favorite element that you're looking forward to?
So I love the title of the talk, which is still not official, but we thought instead of inclusalytics, incrusalytics, right? And so how do we bring some of the messages from the book to the cruise and to align with those themes of leadership and empowerment? And so I see a lot of opportunity for empowerment through data. When people have the data that they need to make the cases they want to make, or to uncover information they're trying to find, or to have solutions that are rooted in reality, rooted in what's actually going on, you can be really empowered by having the right data at your fingertips to be able to make better decisions, make better arguments, be a better influencer. And so that's really what Cruisalytics is going to be all about, and really focused on inclusion, but also allyship. And so what are data points around what it means to be a good ally? And I always say you should never call yourself an ally. An ally should be the term, the designated term that someone gives you because you're doing the work of an ally. You're actually serving someone and helping a community in a really impactful way. And there's data around that. And it could be anecdotal data. What are stories of times where allies have come and supported you, and someone who's leveraged their privilege and their power and their status to help advocate for you in some meaningful way? Those data points, that's how you measure allyship in an organization, not by asking people, are you an ally, yes or no? Like that's not how we measure allyship. And it's not how we measure inclusive behaviors as well. Thinking about the different ways that we measure just behaviors in the workplace. I'm thinking performance evaluations, I'm thinking 360s, I'm thinking even like workforce assessments. We need to apply that same methodology to how we're assessing inclusion. So I always say I don't care if I think I'm the most inclusive leader in the world. What I care is that my team thinks that about me, and what data can they provide as a 360 or as a performance evaluation or as just anecdotal story. There was a time where Victoria led us in a way that made everyone feel valued, respected, seen, and heard. And so just to give some tips and some tools and some strategies on what it looks like to use data to help build more inclusive workplaces, that's really going to be the focus of my talk on the cruise.
I love it. And it reminds me of like our biggest connection between what you all do and what I do, right, is around this that intersection point between the data and how it actually impacts people, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I love partnering with your organization so much, because it's like literally from one step to the next. And I know that when I showed up and started talking about empowerment for people and sharing, things about my differences at times, was try to get the other person, the other human at the other end of that conversation to respect me more and to value my existence more. And it didn't change until I started. Yes, I talked about like how I had to overcome harassment and discrimination and homelessness, and those will get some people that emotional thrall. But if you don't also include the fact that I'm representing a community of more than 2 million people who live in this country, and if I don't talk about the $1.7 trillion buying power of the LGBT business community, or the $900 billion annually that are spent, or if I don't start quoting the economic statistics and the data and analytics behind my identity group, I might not reach everybody. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we want to reach everybody. And that's why I love your organization and what you all do in helping people connect that. So let's think about these differences, because the differences really matter. And I'm pretty excited about the fact that we bring so many different people together on this conference. Can you talk a little bit about what that means to you to be in a conference where potentially 20% of the attendees are going to be transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming, and 50% of the attendees are LGBTQ, and 100% are allies? What is that like for you?
I'm I'm so excited about it. I love whatever I can do and learn to be a better ally has to do with just having partnerships and being community with people who are different than you. And so to be able to spend, 5 days on a cruise ship and be in community with people who have different lived experiences that I can't speak to, but that I'm genuinely interested and curious about and want to be an advocate for moving forward. I just feel really honored to be in spaces with those who share different backgrounds as myself. And then also, how can we not only connect across our differences, but share in our shared identities as well, right? So like even when we jumped into the call, Ashton, I'm like, oh, look at this, two curly hair redheaded ladies on the call today. Like, I love that. I love that. And I feel like the more we get to know each other, the more we realize we actually have a lot more in common than we realize, and we need to both acknowledge our differences but also our shared realities, and that's where the magic really happens, when we get to not only say and see you're different than me, and that is bringing like more enlightenment to me as a human, and that's such a gift that I have to be with those who are different than me, but also look at all that we share as well, and how can we use our shared values particularly to move forward ahead and help any group, whether underrepresented, historically disadvantaged, marginalized, overcome barriers in community together, because it can't just be the work of those who are members of the community, but we all have a role to play when building a more inclusive world.
Yeah, I love it. And this is kind of the reason why I've been tracking and measuring how empowered people are across their differences. So if anyone missed the link for the self-assessment, the live assessment around how empowered you are, the QR code that you see up here would guide you to that. We're actually going to be tracking data for the Voyage of Empowerment, specifically around how empowered all the attendees are for their 10 differences. And individually, everybody that signs up for the conference on the ship will get access to this as an individual assessment. And then they'll get their own personalized empowerment report for the attendees, linking their empowerment ranking for their 10 differences to our research that we did on empowerment and the empowerment algorithm of the empowering actions that they can do. So it's pretty cool. Everyone's going to get that, including you.
I love that. And I love your focus on assessment, because it's only through assessment we truly know what our strengths are and what our opportunities for growth are, and really leveraging both, I think, helps us grow and be able to take concepts like empowerment and really bring them to life and maximize their use of them in our everyday lives. And so I love the assessment component. I love the data, and I love that y'all are using that to help further your message and further everything you're trying to accomplish with empowerment in your work.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit. I know we have a few minutes left, but I want to talk a little bit about the fun aspects of being in a conference like this. So let's start with a quick video clip.
5 fun-filled nights, 5 outfits, 5 dinners with amazing friends, all centered around empowerment. So sign up today for the Voyage of Empowerment.
So of course, right, we're going to have 5 nights, 5 outfits, 5 fun-filled activities, 5 days of mindfulness and meditation and framing and constant connections to empowerment curriculum. What is the most fun thing that you're looking forward to doing?
I'm excited for, I love the idea of like dressing up. I was sorely missing dressing up and just doing fancy things during COVID times. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm excited about the excursions, and I'm really excited about just meeting the different people there. Like, I know there's going to be a variety of business leaders and those in the diversity, equity, inclusion space, leadership development. And so I just love meeting new people and learning about the work they're doing, and the fact we're all going to be coming together over empowering differences, I think is going to be a really beautiful thing.
Yeah. but I will see you at karaoke though too, obviously.
I will definitely be at karaoke. I'll be setting up shop at karaoke.
Because I basically reserve that our group basically has the first karaoke songs and the last karaoke songs, because those are the two most powerful karaoke moments in the conference.
I will be there. Sign me up.
So the secret is you have to make it to the end of karaoke, so you have to
Yes.
pace yourself. Okay. But no, honestly, and I'm obviously being a little bit silly, but no, it actually really is it's powerful to be in those environments, and the stuff that's drawn in the fun environments are actually incredibly powerful. I know that some of the best conversations we had was on the beach when we were talking about the exercises we were doing on the beach, and the photography that we were doing there, so people could have lasting memories. I mean, I love that every time I go somewhere in the world that I always have this photography kit is incredibly powerful. So you're going to get a lot of pictures and videography from this event as well.
Because I need to get bikini ready, right?
Well, the summer is here, so if you haven't yet thought about doing that, let's go. Okay. I think that yes. So 5 outfits includes 5 different things of swimwear too. Okay. While we're only going to be in Bermuda for 2 days, because we have an overnight there, which is really exciting. So our actual convention will happen at Deck 2 forward in the conference space. So we're the only convention happening on the ship during our sailing, which is pretty exciting. So we have the whole convention space to ourselves. Everyone will have lanyards, so when you're walking around the ship, people will want to know what is the Voyage of Empowerment. So you'll get a chance to be talking to all the other 2,800 passengers on the ship, telling them about how you're. And the second day that we do the actual sessions in the conference center is pretty cool, because all the other people from the ship are then wanting to know what's coming on, and like they start peeking in the conference area and trying to get in. It's pretty fun.
How fun. How fun.
Yes. So I know we're at getting near the end, but I definitely wanted to know how people can connect with you. Can you kind of share your contact information, your socials, for those that aren't watching live?
Absolutely. So I'm very, very involved on LinkedIn. So please find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Victoria Mattingly. And then you can always connect with us on our website, mattinglysolutions.com. We have a contact us form. And so I did want to share, not only in addition to the measurement services and the consulting that we provide to clients. So Teresa and I also do a lot of speaking. We're doing a lot of keynotes, and we're also doing workshops. And so if you have a need to learn more about inclusive leadership, inclusive behaviors, allyship, and then of course DEI and data, we're your women. Reach out. We are so happy to come and talk to your organizations and help empower those who are leading and are really passionate about DEI efforts to be more inclusive leaders, be better allies, and to use more data in their work. So reach out if we could help spread that message at your organization.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much for taking all the time today to connect, and somebody in Facebook was sending some hearts, and we got a couple of people on YouTube commenting, which is cool. Being across all the platforms, we love you all. We appreciate you. Thank you, Victoria, for being here. I'm excited because I'm going to see you coming up next week, and in person, and then we have like 2 weeks after that, we're going to see each other at another.
We just follow each other across the country. I love it. I love seeing you at all the events. You're such like a wonderful, like friendly, happy person to see at all these different events. I'm just so grateful we run the same gamut.
Yes, yes, and yes. So we are totally running in the circuit together, and now we're on the Voyage of Empowerment circuit together, which is even more exciting.
Yes, it is.
But no, thank you so much for everyone, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.